True wireless earbuds are here, there, and absolutely everywhere. But there are few earbuds which are truly audiophile grade, and here is where Grado is trying to appeal to that market. The GT220 is really putting up a fight to Sennheiser, which is for quite a while now had the kind of reign as the best true wireless audiophile earphones, and while they do have some flaws, ultimately for sound quality they're the best, up till now. Now these earphones are not cheap, very much like the Sennheiser alternatives. They cost around £250 in UK and around $260 in the US. If you have that amount of money, you are rolling. Now if you're looking to buy these earphones, the locally link in the description below will take you to your localized Amazon store, and also down there you'll find some alternative suggestions, including reviews to other true wireless earbuds that I have reviewed. Now in the description below you'll also find a link to my Instagram and Twitter, and yes, that is a shameless plug, and if you're interested in all electric or hybrid news or reviews, do check out TotallyEV, and yes, there's also a YouTube channel. You should definitely check that out. It'll be on your banner, and again also down in the description below. Your support would be truly appreciated. So kicking things off, let's talk about what you get in the box. Well, it's pretty simple. You got the earphones, the USB Type-C to Type-A cable, and a set of extra ear tips. Now it would have been really much appreciated to see a greater selection of ear tips, or even some, let's say, foam tips included, but nevertheless that's not what you get, and it's kind of no surprise because most of its competitors don't offer anything else. Now the case over here has got a USB Type-C charging port, which means that it will charge till full in around 2 hours, and it's also a QI wireless charging pad underneath as well, allowing you to wirelessly charge it. Now the earphones have a quoted battery life of 36 hours, which is pretty good, but that's also including the case. The earphones themselves will last 6 hours on a single charge, still very good in comparison to some of its competitors. Now the thing is, with the design of the case, it's pretty chunky. If I compare it to some other earphones that I've got over here, so it's Jabra Elite 75T, Libratone Track Air Plus, the Sennheiser earphones, and the Grado earphones. You can see the Grado earphones have got a pretty large case, and it's also pretty deep as well, so therefore it's not as convenient to place it in your pocket in comparison to some of its rivals, and I would say it doesn't look as stylish in comparison to some of its rivals, namely from the Sennheiser one, for which has got this kind of fabric type of look around it. Now getting into the case itself, what you'll see is that the earphones have got a blue indicator. Now this will disappear in terms of it'll stop flashing when you do connect up to your phone, although I will say that they do continue pulsating blue but very irregularly. Now the earphones themselves have got a relatively chunky design. If you compare it to some of its competitors, let's say the Sennheiser earphones, they're pretty much on par, but they're certainly not as sleek and as slender as, let's say, the Libratone Track Air Plus, which till this date I've still yet to come across a more stylish and sleek true wireless earphone out there on the market. And something a little bit more, I would say, in the middle ground is the 75T. So still, despite this fact, I had a perfect fit with the medium-sized buds. As I mentioned, there's different size buds for you to choose from. You got right and left indicator found within the inner sides of the housing, and at the outer side, aside from the flashing light, which you can see right now, these have got touch-sensitive pads. Now the touch-sensitive pads on the left-hand side is really to depict how it interacts with your smartphone, whilst on the right-hand side it's media controls only. Now there is no application here for you to customize your controls, and this really does lead itself to be a little bit more frustrating, because if you do prefer having, let's say, left or right to do something else, then unfortunately you are limited to what Grado choose for you to do in order for you to interact with your source device. It would have been nice to see an application over here which allows a little bit more customization, and furthermore the actual touch sensitive buttons could have been a little bit better. I personally prefer, out of all the kind of controls that you get on the whole, the Libratone Track Air Plus pads in terms of the touch sensitive pads are definitely one of the best in the business. However, still till this date, the one which is the most foolproof is the actual physical button, such as on the Libratone, such as on the Jabra Elite 75T, which are not too hard to press and also don't resonate too hard around your ears. What I'm trying to say over here is that I'm not a massive fan of touch sensitive buttons, and I just wish that Grado kind of leaned away from them and actually opted for physical buttons. But I know that's not up everyone's, it's not everyone's street, so therefore you might disagree with me. Now with that all aside, let's get on to the call quality or recording quality, and everything you can hear right now is coming directly from the Grado earphones. What I will tell you off the bat is that I'm not really impressed by the overall call quality. You'll be able to hear for yourselves. It sounds like a little bit of statics in the background. It's kind of amplifying the microphone and therefore picking up a lot of background noise as well. And truthfully, just for calls, I just was left a little bit unimpressed. Now, while the Sennheiser earphones aren't exactly perfect in this domain, you can probably hear for yourselves that the Sennheiser earphones do a far better job at not only getting my voice, but also eliminating the amount of background static noise that the Grado earphones were able to pick up. So ultimately, the overall call quality you get from the Grado earphones is pretty disappointing, to say the least, especially for a set of very expensive true wireless earbuds. Now, while recording quality wasn't impressive on the Grado earphones, what I will say is that the sound quality was pretty spectacular. Now, before getting into the overall sound frequency breakdown, it's worth bearing in mind that these support the SBC, AAC and aptX codecs, which is nice to see a nice array. It would have been even better to see the LDAC codec support potentially, and kind of pushing the boat out, given these are audiophile earphones at the end of the day, and therefore getting very little transmission loss over Bluetooth with LDAC in comparison to aptX would have been a nice addition. But nevertheless, this is what Grado have chosen to include, and I must say, in terms of transmission to my Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, I had no issues whatsoever, and that also includes lip sync delays or any sort of video lag that some people claim to have. I didn't have any problems, at least on my phone, using the aptX codec with the Grado earphones. So I'm hearing you cry, I want to know about the sound frequency breakdown. So let's get into it. First off, let's talk about the sub bass. Now, the Grado earphones have got a nice sub bass rumble, and in comparison to other true wireless earphones out there, they're definitely more of a bassy type of sound signature. Again, very much like the Grado type of portfolio of products that they have, they're aimed at kind of that rocky type of sound signature, and you do get that in the sub bass tones. Now, in comparison to the Sennheiser over here, in terms of the low end frequencies, the mid-bass just doesn't sound as clean, as precise on the Grado earphones as they do on the Sennheiser earphones. Now, while the Sennheiser earphones do sound a little bit lackluster, and you might actually need to EQ it a little bit to get that kind of bass oomph in your face, I still feel that the overall bass, the mid-bass quantity and quality is done very well on the Sennheiser, while on the Grado earphones it's a little bit overdone. And so here, Grado fans might either love it or hate it, really depending on the Grado headphones that you might have come from, or if you've never tried Grado headphones before, just know that these are a bit more bassy than their Sennheiser alternative audiophile true wireless earphones. Now, as for the mid-range, here was quite an interesting kind of showdown between the two earphones. I found that the Grado earphones had a more of a boosted lower mid-range, while the Sennheisers had a more of a boosted upper mid-range. And both of them sound V-shaped in comparison to audiophile-grade headphones out there, as in, you know, flagship headphones from either manufacturer. But in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to true wireless earphones, these are definitely more of the forward-sounding mid-range earphones that you can find out there on the market, while not sacrificing the rest of the frequency range. So in this mid-range department, these are definitely the top-tier earphones in true wireless earphones. I can't stress this enough. These have got the fantastic mid-range. If I had to pick between the two, I would lean towards the Sennheiser, but that's also due to the overall kind of sound presentation, which is a little bit more flat sounding, flat in the loosest sense, in comparison to the Grados, which sound a little bit more warmer and kind of that rocky type of sound signature. Now, as for the highs, both earphones absolutely excel in this department. They extend extremely well while not providing too much sibilance or harshness at the top end, and no matter what sort of volume you listen to, you'll have no problems whatsoever. So here, both earphones are pretty much equivalent. I couldn't really pick between the two. Now, as for the Soundstage, the two earphones are really good, but it's very much intriguing to know that the Grado earphones have got a more laid-back sort of sound signature, while the Sennheiser sounds a little bit more intimate. Imagine it, if you will, the Sennheiser is a closed back headphone, and the Grado is more of a open back earphone. So hopefully that makes sense, but ultimately what I'm trying to say over here is that the two earphones have a differentiation in terms of how their sound is being portrayed to your ears, be it due to the driver design or just how they've actually been tuned. At least the drivers have been tuned by the audio engineers at both companies. Now furthermore, the overall width and depth that you get on both earphones is pretty much fantastic. You will hear great instrument separation, and you'll feel a good sense of, well, the music coming from all different places. And even if you're going to be gaming on these earphones, be it on your laptop or PC or on your mobile, then you'll feel a good sense of direction and positional cues. So both earphones really do a fantastic job in this domain, and as I mentioned, due to the kind of more airy, or so I say more laid-back sound signature you get on the Grado earphones, you'll have a more sense of depth in comparison to the Sennheiser earphones. So on the whole, what do I think about the Grado earphones, and specifically, do I think that they kind of outrank their Sennheiser rivals? Well, it really is really subjective in this domain in terms of the overall sound quality that you get from the Grado earphones. I think that they do a fantastic job, and if I had to pick my favorites in terms of the overall sort of sound that I get from a set of true wireless earphones, I would actually lean more towards the Grado earphones, despite actually really liking the overall sound signature and the sound that Sennheiser has produced with the Momentum True Wireless 2. But the thing is, the Grado earphones don't do great in other domains. They are very much limited in terms of overall features. There's no sort of noise cancellation features. There's also no application at the time of making this video, so you can't tailor your EQ. And yes, you can have custom EQ apps, or indeed, let's say, apps, music players that have built-in EQs, but it would be nice to see kind of a global EQ which would be applied to the earphones and therefore applied to all different devices that you're using. And furthermore, the recording quality here is probably one of its biggest flaws. At least from my tests, I found it to be pretty shambolic, to say the least. And in comparison to even budget true wireless earphones, the Grados really can't compete. And it's no surprise that Sennheiser, as an audio company that produces microphones and stuff, comes out on top in this domain. And even then, the Sennheiser isn't still my top pick when it comes to recording quality. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. I think they're a great alternative, and they definitely do take the top spot for audiophile-grade true wireless earphones. But again, if you've been watching this review and heard my verdict, you'll understand that they're not exactly the perfect iteration of a true wireless earphone. But that's just my thoughts and opinions about it. I'll be intrigued to hear your thoughts in a comment section below. Do let me know your thoughts. And of course, if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to see more, and of course, favorite and share, as it always helps the channel grow. Alright, I've been Totally Dubbed. Take care, and bye-bye.